Welcome, everybody. I have not met you. My name is Jim Chris, the Superintendent of Pleasantville School District. Excuse me. Thank you all for coming tonight. Before we get started, if we haven't been before, just some logistics. Outdoors, you came in to the right is the bathrooms. And in the event that the strange things happen in schools, we get like an emergency, like a fire alarm or something told. Our drill is to go out these back doors into the cover and look for an old player, and we go looking back in. And if it's not safe to go there, then we always go down the field as well. So, thank you guys for being here tonight, and we will get started here real shortly.
Like the whole time, for everything. I really, all right, welcome everyone. We call to order the Pleasantville School District Board meeting. Our first agenda item is the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States. To stand by the nation indivisible with liberty and justice. All right, item 1.2 is our mission statement. Rusty, would you take that for us?
Well, our mission to graduate all students with high levels of academic and personal achievement, ready for post-secondary excellence, prepared for productive, compassionate citizenship through research-based instruction and a collaborative system of support.
Thank you, and I really appreciate everyone being here today. We go on to our first public comment section, so I'm gonna go over a couple of things with everyone. So we have two sections for public comment. The first one is just for agenda items, so things we were going to talk about today already as the board, and we have one comment for that. And then all the rest of the people who have signed up for public comment will be for the second public comment section. So for all those who are here, just a couple updates. The one employee who is on administrative leave, they're still on administrative leave, and the district is doing a review and investigation. This is a standard step that allows the district to find facts and give all the information before any decisions are made. All personnel matters must follow those procedures that are outlined by Oregon law, school district policies, and our collective bargaining agreement. But we expect this process to take several weeks as the district itself goes through that. The board itself does not participate in that investigation or employee matters directly. So we still want to hear all of your feedback if you do want to speak, and we want to hear from the community. The board has a long-standing policy not to hear complaints or commendations about any individual employees. We ask that you please email those to the district itself. For when the public comment is, taking place, we're gonna have 3 minute, time limits for each individual speaker, so we get through as many people as we can. And Vice Mayor, Vice Chair will indicate when you have 30 seconds left and when you have 10 seconds left for each person. I will do my best to just let you talk, but if the decorum of the meeting is broken and people are booing or yelling or cheering or clapping or cursing or anything like that, I will, take a break, and if it keeps happening, we'll take a recess. So just so everyone's on the same page, but I do appreciate, we all appreciate you all being here and taking history, being passionate about the district, and dedicated to the district, and, hope you continue to come to meetings in the future. So thank you. So, our first item, item 3.1 is public forum. So during this portion of the board meeting, members of the public are specifically invited to present items of commendation or concern. At the direction of the board chair, further public participation may be allowed for the specific agenda items that are under consideration by the board. We also accept comments from online individuals. So the school district posts the upcoming agenda on our website, the Friday before the meeting. This will allow the public comment prior to the board meeting. You can use our site to share your comments to the board, to consider at the upcoming meeting. Personnel matters may not be discussed at public school board meetings. Members of the public who have personnel concerns or commendations, should share them directly with the district. So with that being said, our, first public comment is from Maria. So you're feel free to come up. Thanks.
He's out of shot. My name is Maria Sandusky. Many of you think of me as a new member of our community, while the rest of you have known me from our friend base. I chose to come here to say that I agree with the current outline for yourself on smartwatch policy. Students should be learning to self-govern by being allowed to keep their phones with them both their way. I personally have passed this with staff of my own student, trying to teach self-control and how to be responsible and respectful with the device. Something that many of our children are still learning. We as parents are trying hard to navigate this electronic and social media world, which seems to be where our children are. What websites and social medias are appropriate, how their digital footprint will follow them and may even haunt them for the rest of their lives. This district even has a policy on it, stating that staff actions and social media websites, public websites, and blogs, while on or off duty, which disrupts the school environment, are subject to disciplinary action up to and including dismissal. A disruption for the purpose of this policy includes, but is not limited to, one or more parent that threatens to remove their children from a particular class or particular school, actual withdrawal of a student or student from a particular class or a particular school, and or threaten or actual negative impact on the learning environment. I know that you guys all take this seriously, as well as your staff members. As in years past, they held my own student accountable for a similar agreement that was later dismissed, as he had quoted in music lyric. I hope that you will follow through with your ban on cell phones, allowing students the opportunity for teaching moments and partnering with parents to hold our students accountable, as I know that you would if the staff member were violated. Thank you.
Thank you, Maria. One thing I forgot to mention is that the board will comment, or engage with comments directly, so, we will answer questions or debate it anyway. But, we'll go on to 4.1. Action item is the approval of our consent agenda. Does anyone have any comments? All right, I'll take motions.
Move approval of the consent agenda.
Second.
All right, that's approved and seconded. No further discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Passes unanimously. On to 4.2, approval of the board goals.
No, it's reviewed them. So at our last meeting, we discussed work goals. And I came up with the following. So primary goals around literacy and student learning and progress being measured by growth on district and state literacy assessments, percentage of students meeting benchmark targets and documented information outcomes of chip 3. This is a new goal that, we're discussed, basically kind of all as we, roll out our system, new assessment system as well. Also a governance and board development goal, so letting the school district board directors participate in governance training, and the focus topics may include when and how individual board members should engage in discussion, distinguishing appropriate questions for public meetings versus those that should be directed privately to the superintendent, and balancing the board's role in governance with the superintendent's responsibility for personnel and operations, and currently working with OSBA on developing a timeline for that. And strategic project for improvement. These are really rollovers from the board. So continue the implementation of the school board calendar events for board member signups, utilizing equity lens during the meetings to ensure equity remains central to decision making, and improve the quality of sound in the board meetings for both in-person attendees and even remote listeners. And the sound is actually a good example that we hope to have over the community center.
Sounds good, thank you. Any other comments from the board? All right, your motions.
Move to approve board goal resolution 2526, point 33. Second.
All right, so moved and seconded, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. It passes unanimously. 4.3, approval of the superintendent goals and evaluation process.
It's at our last meeting, came up with 3 goals. First goal is around staff engagement. So the superintendent will strengthen staff engagement across all employee groups to improve retention, build a positive culture, and ensure staff feel heard and supported. The second goal is our instructional system and student achievement. So the superintendent will improve student achievement by prioritizing growth in 3rd grade reading, 8th grade math, focusing on data-driven instruction and timely interventions. And the third goal is on communication and community relations. So the superintendent will expand and strengthen communication and community partnerships to improve transparency, engagement, and external support for district initiatives. Included is also the e-learning packets for the evaluation process.
Any comments from anyone? All right, your motions.
Move to approve resolution 2526.34.
Second.
Moved and seconded, all those in favor?
Aye.
Passes unanimously. 4.4, accept integrated programs report.
All right, so this is the Department of Ed requirements to have this on an action item, being available for public comment. This will also go on our website, along with the annual report that's provided the school board tonight. And there's 3 questions that go into this Q4 annual report with our integrated programs. And the first one is around discussing at least one outcome where you have seen progress in implementation. And so the one area where we have seen notable progress in implementation is in our regular attendance rates. So the improvement connects directly to several key strategies and our outcomes, and particularly those focused on community engagement, data-driven decision-making, and amplifying student voice. So overall, we're working to build an environment where students want to be present, and that progress is directly contributing to both our identified outcomes and our longitudinal goals. Second question from the state that we have to answer in this report is discussing at least one outcome where you've seen challenges or barriers into the implementation. The one piece that we've talked about for the last couple of years are been years around multi-tier systems of support, and it's really been a challenging piece. We've got a lot of range of understanding with our staff as far as what multi-tiered systems of support mean. We were actually missing some key support areas as well with staffing, like our school psychologists, speech and language pathologists, and we've got those positions filled right now. And then this year, we're going to work on some targeted professional development, which really come in line with the MTSS framework and practice. And then the final one was around viewing a single metric. And so this is including the metric targets, the types of reflection that we go through as we look at all of our data. But the primary metric we focused on was regular attender rate. And the regular attendance is a critical indicator of student engagement and school climate. So in the 21-22 academic year, our baseline regular attender rate stood at 16%. And in response, we developed a multi-year growth trajectory with the aim of gradually increasing this rate each year. Our long-term target was to reach 77% by the 26-27 school year. That would reflect 9 percentage point increase over 5 years. encouraging, at the 23-24 school year, we'd already achieved a 76% regular attendance rate, so nearly reaching our long-term goal, 3 years ahead of schedule. We plan on continuing to prioritize, student voice, fostering authentic relationships, and ensuring academic rigor, as we engage in keeping kids coming to school, and really the school climate and wanting to be here. We're super proud of being able to, report on a regular attendance rate, going up so quickly.
Perfect, that's awesome, thank you. Any other comments or questions from the board?
Thank you to the author, Susie, over there. Appreciate the report. Also, principals, I know you guys put a ton of work into the attendance. We talked about it every meeting. That's helpful to see that it worked. Appreciate that a lot.
All right, I'll hear motions.
I'll move to approve exhibit 2526.25.
Seconded.
So moving second, any further comments? All right, all those in favor? Aye. Thank you unanimously, under 4.5, approve the revised resolution for making appropriations.
Yes, we have a revised resolution for you tonight for making appropriations. So we budgeted, just over 2.2 million for capital projects in the 25-26 fiscal year. And then after reviewing our original resolution, which was 24-25.256, the Oregon Department of Education's fiscal transparency unit informed us that listing the amount in facilities acquisition and construction under capital project funds, indicate that we were using Fund 400 to budget the expenditures. And so since we have budgeted these projects in special revenue fund, which is the 200 series, we need to adopt the resolution 24-25.256, which is the revised one, showing the funds in facilities acquisition and construction under the heading of special revenue fund, instead of capital projects. But the accountants. Welcome to public accounting.
You're removing the big categories, essentially.
Yes, and Sherry's, I'm pretending to know what I'm talking about. Accounting. Sherry's here if you have any questions.
Any questions? All right, I'll hear motions.
I move to approve resolution 24-25.256.
Second.
All right, approved second. Any further comments? All those in favor? Aye. Passes unanimously. On 4.6, first read, policies BDGH, BDGHR.
All right, so at our August 18th board charge meeting, the board conducted a review of policy BDG and BDGAR around public comment. And as part of that discussion, the board identified changes to align the policy with best practices. The policy with its recommended changes was again reviewed in the September 8th board work session. And these changes are reflected in the revised draft policy and administrative regulation presented here. It's recommended the board review policy BDG and BDGAR as first read with potential adoption following required review and comment period. There were really kind of some minimal changes, but if you're looking at the policy in the second paragraph, right towards the last sentence, originally it was 48 hours. And so this one is changing that accommodations are encouraged to notify the district at least 2 business days. If somebody needs an accommodation in the meeting. And then number 3 for procedures for oral public comment. Originally it was read, and that number 3 was only on agenda items as far as taking public comments. And the recommended changes was a comment on a topic not on the published agenda. However, speakers who indicated desire to speak on a topic on the agenda need to give a preference if the number of requests to speak exceeds the allotted agenda time. So essentially opens the board up if they want to take other comments other than what's on the action item. And then on the final page, the procedures for written comment, we just changed the addresses to rather than directing the public straight to our website, this directs them straight to our communication contact. On the administrative rule, we took out the asking for addresses. if you look under the indented piece, there's two paragraphs there in the entire second paragraph was an addition. With the intent of providing more clarity to the public we want to, speak. And then on the intent to speak there at the bottom, we took out where there was addresses and asked two basic questions of whether or not individuals, a parent of a community, or is a parent or community member of Pleasant Hill, or if they're not a parent or community member of Pleasant Hill.
Looks good to me. Do we need to approve the first reading or we just go on the next edition?
I was recommending that we already take a motion to officially put it in first reading, yes.
Just, sorry, just to clarify for the record, the policy is BDEH. I think you said G. Sorry, I just wanted to clarify for the record.
Any other questions or comments? And we looked at it a few times now. All right, I'll hear a motion to complete.
Move to approve the first read resolution 2526.36.
Then moved and seconded. Any further comment? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Passes unanimously. 4.7, first read of policy JFCEB and JFCEB-AR, personal electronic devices and social.
So again, at the August 18th board charge meeting, the board reviewed this policy. And then in preparation for its deletion and replacement, the action was taken in response to the governor's executive order 509, which directs school districts to adopt a new personal electronic device policy. In alignment with the executive order, the board reviewed draft policy JFCEB, personal electronic devices, with its recommended changes. And then a second reading was conducted at the September 8th board work session. And the revisions are discussed or reflected in the draft that's accompanying this. And then only a couple. So in the very first on the policy, there was a couple of options to choose. We could either have the students could either use the personal or use of personal devices, but we had an option of choosing possession of personal devices and moving to student use of personal devices. On the next page, where we get more of the details of things that we have some control over. So we've got a section on smartwatches. There's 3 bullet points. Smartwatches may be worn during regular instructional hours, provided they are placed in airplane mode or another mode that fully disables the ability to send or receive calls, texts, or other communication, and does not allow wireless transmission of data. Second bullet, when worn in these conditions, smartwatches are considered timepieces only used for non-communicable functions such as timekeeping. And the third bullet, if a smartwatch is using active communication during instruction hours will be subject to the same restrictions as cell phones under this policy, including storage requirements and display reminders. And then the next piece is around students in violation. You're basically a 3-step violation. First instance of non-compliance, device will be temporarily confiscated or held in an office until the end of the day. Parents or guardians will be notified, and a meeting with school administration may be scheduled to discuss ways to support the student. In second instance, the device will be temporarily held, and parent guardians will be contacted to arrange pickup of the device. A meeting with school administration and family will be arranged to review the policy and plan for improved compliance. And in the third instance, schools will determine additional appropriate consequences, always prioritizing keeping students in class and engaged in learning.
Thank you. Any comments or questions? All right, I'll hear motions.
Move to acknowledge first read, resolution 2526.37.
Second.
So over second, any further comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Passes unanimously. 4.8, first reading of policy IGB-AR. Educational records and records of students with disabilities.
So we reviewed these two together, and essentially is the IGBA, the -JO, and the other one is the JO-IGBA. AB-AR. So basically same policy, they look at two parts of the our policies though. Some background, the State Board of Education recently made changes to the rules regarding directory information and student permanent records. And these updates reflect these changes. And then our August 18th, 2025 board regular meeting, the board reviewed, the board policies in preparation for recommended changes. Not a lot of changes to the two policies. On the first page, go down all the way to the district shall keep and maintain a birthday record for each student, which includes, and it's letter C, student's birthday. And that's where it stops. So it used to include, in place of birth, and so now it just includes the student's birthday. On the second page, first paragraph, it removed, a statement used to say, and will include the social security number, when they've taken that out. You know, that is the last change for those two policies. It was the same change in both policies.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? All right, your motions?
I'll move to approve the first read resolution 2526.38.
The moved and seconded. Further comment? All those in favor?
Aye.
Passes unanimously. And our last one, 4.9, first read of policy JHCA, JHCB, immunizations and school sports participation.
Right, and this policy, the Oregon Legislature adopted House Bill 3007, outlining steps that must be taken when information regarding a student's concussion or other brain injury is provided to the district. State Board of Education provided additional rules by adopting OAR 581-21-3007. And the OSBA is also recommending removing the code on JHCA-JHCB immunization of school sports participation, making just JHCA, which will include immunization of school sport participation, concussions, and other brain injuries. And again, this was reviewed at our August 18th regular board meeting. Some changes with this one. So again, it was double coding. So previously, it was immunization and school sports participation, and so they've taken the and out and just made it immunization, school sports participation, and then they've added concussions and other brain injuries. So it also changed, it used to be grade 7 through 12, it's now grade 6 through 12, and then they added the entire section around concussions and other brain injuries. And those additions are recommendations, so when the school is notified of a brain injury or a concussion, make sure to follow through and providing accommodations to students who get based on the injury or the condition.
Any other questions? All right, all your motions?
Move to approve first read resolution 2526.39.
Second.
So moved and seconded. Any further comment? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passes unanimously. All right, that's through all our action items. Next section of the board meeting is our second public comment forum. Again, as a reminder, each speaker will have 3 minutes. I have the list of all the people who asked to speak here, and I'll call you up 2 at a time, 1 to each podium, and I'll have you go in order. Just as a reminder, during this portion of the board meeting, members of the public are specifically invited to present items of commendation or concern. At the discretion of the board chair, further public comment may be allowed if time allows. We're going to set aside 45 minutes from now to take public comment. Rusty will be taking time for each person, give them 3 minutes to speak. Personal matters may not be discussed during a public at a school board meeting. If you have personnel concerns or commendations, you can share them directly with the school district. So our first 2 people for public comment are Timothy and Sarah, who both come up.
Hello. Hello.
You can start with Tim.
My name is Timothy Meinzen. I've been teaching at Pleasant Hill for 35 years. This is my home, even though I don't live here. As a history teacher, I tell stories, and so it's hard for me to shake that habit. But I grew up in a devout Christian home. My father is a minister My grandpa is a minister, my uncle is a minister, and my youngest brother became a priest. I was enfolded by the faith. As a missionary kid, I was also devout and full of zeal. As a 6-year-old, I decided I was going to convert my neighbors. My neighbors were twins, 6 years old as well. They were Catholic. Not sure what that was, but it wasn't Lutheran. I promptly began telling them they had to read the Bible and believe in the Word, in the Lord Jesus Christ, and join the Missouri Synod Lutheran Church to make it to heaven. When I brought out the big leather-bound Bible my mom owned, they took it from my hands and did something shocking. They kissed the Bible. Well, Lutherans, we don't kiss the Bible. These people were more religious than I was. And so that began my long fascination with religion. Another story more to this point. Years ago, I was vigorously attacked by my brother, the priest. In print, not in person. If it was in person, I wouldn't be standing here. He's a much bigger man. Yeah, I was wounded and then I was angered. I wanted to let him have it with my impressive mind. The problem is that as a priest, he has an impressive mind too. So silently, I despised him. But that's the tough thing about being a Christian. In my mind, I had every right to be furious. It had nothing to do with him. But my anger was constantly undercut every time we read the Gospels and read Jesus' commands to love, to show mercy, and to forgive. This is so radical. It's not comfortable, but I cannot escape that message. Forgiveness, I know personally, is a very hard thing. It goes against my desire for revenge and my desire for punishment. My brother never apologized for his words. So in my mind, he did not deserve to be forgiven. But my anger kept grinding away at me. I couldn't shake it loose. I knew that I had to forgive. And I knew also that he was hurt as well. I know that fundamental to my wanting to be forgiven is to be forgiven by God, is the necessity to forgive others. I realize that not everybody shares these beliefs, but I think there is such a powerful healing in mercy and forgiveness. And for a lovely community with deep roots in the land, practicing forgiveness and mercy can be defining and strengthening. Am I out of time, Rusty? Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. I'm a community member and mother of 2 Billies, also a graduate of Thurston and a mother of a Colt. I would like to read part of an email sent to families from the Thurston High School principal, Kimberly Poster. I'll leave out names and specific events. Hello, Colts and Colt families. It has been a long and emotional week. Unfortunately, our students far too often have to face the reality of violence in our world and in their news feeds. Ours is a community that knows all too well the realities of violence, and we are united in belief that violence is never the answer. Over the past week, I have had the privilege of engaging with students, parents, and community members. In all my conversations, via email, in the office, or at demonstrations, I've been reminded of the values that guide us: the right to free speech, due process, and honoring diverse perspectives. These values have shaped our decisions for years and will continue to do so moving forward. It is not a zero-sum game with winners and losers. We all benefit from increasing the number of voices in the conversation. We remain consistent and fair in supporting the voices of all in our community. Our challenge and our commitment is to ensure every Colt feels heard, respected, and connected. We are united in our love of this community and deserve to see it thrive. We are all Colts, Principal Poster. This email is positive, eloquent, and fair. My question is this: why do I feel discouraged and more divided in this community when their community is being modeled respect and unity, encouraged to welcome different perspectives, and is clearly reminded of our rights of free speech and due process? Pleasant Hill can be better. Thank you.
Few people we have are Dennis and Ron, right?
Evening, members of the board.
Superintendent Chris. Members of the public. My name is Dennis H. Fitness, and I served on this board for almost 14 years. And was the board's only representative to the folks who designed and built this very building. It was many years ago. Don't like the building, talk to the architect. I am here tonight to speak on district policy, state law, and collective bargaining guidelines. To begin, district policy GCPD requires the district to use due process and comply with the relevant portions of the collective bargaining agreement when disciplining or dismissing employees. Oregon administrative rules state the grounds for disciplinary action require conviction of certain offenses, generally related to dishonesty, or someone who doesn't meet a good moral standard. Think the 1950s. Based on your sexual orientation, you could be terminated on that alone. We have come a very long way, and we need to look at today's standards, today's environment, to identify those standards. To be terminated, the collective bargaining agreement requires that someone engages in conduct that constitutes gross negligence. The collective bargaining agreements mandate progressive discipline, meaning taking an employee through a series of steps before termination is considered. The district needs to deal with an employee's first offense informally, then move to more formal discipline, such as written reprimands, suspensions, and then ultimately discharge. Thank you.
My name is Vernon Williams. Dexter. My kids came through Pleasant Hill. Nice to see the Pledge of Allegiance. That was a good deal. Story like that. Hey, I came here in regards to what I saw on national news. And I wanted to know where the administration and the board was going on disciplinary action. I don't know too much of what's going on, really. I just wanted to hear more. But I hope we can talk about them there. I haven't been to a board meeting since we built the school and I was on the committee. So I'm here to kind of find out about that. Hear a lot of talk and just want to hear from the horses. So that's what I'm here to hear. So I don't know if we're gonna talk about that much or not. Sounds like it's pretty zip, but I'd appreciate it if we could.
Next up, Kevin and Mark. Up down.
My name is Kevin Flory. I've been in Pleasantville 36 years, raised 4 sons, they all graduated here. I love this community. I grew up in Goshen, so I know this whole area. This is my home. Now I have grandchildren in this school. And I understand what forgiveness means. I remember the Pleasantville Baptist Church, very active in the fire department. And I like the idea that this community should feel safe and not be experiencing something that has disrupted this community so bad. 2 weeks ago, I was appalled, my family was appalled. I'm fearful that people I know, they're concerned with their kids, what they're being taught, what they're being counseled by because of the situation. And it really, really disturbs me that this ever should have happened. So I do respect the board. And I know that what needs to be done, the board has to make a decision because
this is not what our young children need to be told is okay. It was not a very good example, mistakes were made, but, you know, forgiveness is there, but there also need to be consequences. Thank you.
Yes, sir. All right, so I sent this to you guys and you, thank you for being able to bring it back. I just want to share this with the community. My name is Mark and I live in Thurston. My mom grew up in Pleasant Hill. My whole family has lived in Springfield our whole lives. It's been a rough go politically for both sides of things. Past couple of weeks. The email I'm gonna share with you though is my feelings. You may not agree with them, but that's the world and we gotta count it. We gotta start getting along. Okay, so I am ready to express my concern regarding potential dismissal of a counselor in each school district. I believe it is essential to uphold principles of fairness, inclusivity, and academic freedom within our educational institutions. Teachers play a critical role in shaping young minds, and their effectiveness should be measured by their dedication to students and adherence to curriculum standards, not by their personal political beliefs. Diversity of thought is a cornerstone of a healthy democracy, and our schools should reflect that by fostering environments where respectful discourse and differing viewpoints are not only tolerated, but also encouraged. Removing a teacher due to a political difference risks setting a troubling precedent. It may discourage educators from expressing themselves or encouraging students in meaningful discussions about civil life, history, and current events. More importantly, it can undermine the trust and morale of both staff and students who benefit from seeing that differing perspectives can coexist respectfully. I urge all of you to consider the broader implications of the decision and to reaffirm its commitment to fairness, academic integrity, and protection of individual rights. Let us ensure that our schools remain places of learning, growth, and open-mindedness. I don't agree with what has been going on. I don't think any crime was committed in what was said online in the past couple of weeks by a teacher. Thanks, sir. I'm allowed in here. I guess I'm a religious person. I've been raised in Christianity, but I've also been taught treat people the way you want to be treated. So any of you that are in a religious spectrum of whatever faith you have, I guess my question would be, if you make a mistake and you ask for forgiveness and you are remorseful and you apologize, does God come for your livelihood and try to ruin everything that you've worked hard for? I understand that there's differences in opinions, but not everybody has to think the way that you think. I just hope that everybody, as a community, you guys can come together because it's painful to see. Thanks.
Next is Larry, all right? And Jessica, you both come up? Or it's last name's Jackson, sorry. Whoever this was.
Be too hard to make out, but I think I'll pass.
Okay. Are you, we can take a microphone up to you if you'd like. You go first, Larry.
I don't see that as political, I see it as total insensitivity. You know, there's politics and there's sensitivity or insensitivity, and I think, unfortunately, around the country, a lot of people are losing their jobs over insensitivity. Totally different than the sensitivity that was shown in Minnesota
a year or so ago when husband and wife were murdered, and everyone in Congress was appalled by that. So I think it's about sensitivity versus insensitivity, not politics.
Thank you. You can go, Jessica.
Hi, Jessica Wolpe, most of you know me. I've been a longtime community member, grew up here in Pleasant Hill, went to the school district, worked here for 13 years. I have a niece and a nephew at the middle school. And as a community member and an educator, I felt compelled to speak tonight regarding the responsibility of this district to take action when staff publicly share content on social media that is inappropriate or violent in nature. Educators hold a position of trust and influence. To create a truly inclusive and supportive environment, it is essential that all students, regardless of background, religion, or political beliefs, feel safe and respected at school. That sense of safety can be compromised when the staff member's public behavior calls their professionalism and impartiality into question. In times of national tragedy, such as the recent assassination of Charlie Kirk, schools should serve as places of comfort and stability. Students should be able to look to their teachers, their counselors, and administrators for guidance and support. I do not believe that is currently the case at the middle school, given that a staff member posted deeply concerning content online and remains employed in that role. The district's own collective bargaining agreement acknowledges in Article 5C that while an employee's personal life is generally not the board's concern, conduct outside of school may become relevant when it impacts the individual's effectiveness in their role. I believe the social media activity in question directly affects the staff member's ability to provide a safe and supportive space for all students. I urge the board and administration to address this issue promptly and transparently. Continued inaction risks eroding the trust that families and community members place in our schools. Thank you.
One comment online from Dennis. He didn't log in. Okay. All right, that concludes our comment section. On this, I will say I appreciate everyone who spoke. I honestly say we've received lots of emails, calls, and personal communication over the course of the last couple of weeks, and we appreciate the feedback from our community. We take each one to heart. I have read every email that I received, so I don't just delete them, and we take them to heart. So as we walk through this, just know that your voices are heard. As we move on to 6.1, board superintendent communication. Did you have something here, Tim?
Okay, I had a quick update on our middle school, high school library. If you haven't had a chance to get over and take a look at it, it's there's some minor details, some locks and handles on a couple of doors. We've got a couple of windows that put in those two doors as well, but our librarians worked really hard, had some help from students and some staff members getting books on, so if you get a chance to come back by, it looks much more like a library, super proud of the work that was done. We get that emptied out of the books, and the help our maintenance custodial staff, they will do that, and students helped, and then staff rallying, or facilities, people rallying as well, they get books back on the shelves to get open back up. We're working on the naming piece right now, so the Education Foundation is hard work, we're getting some renderings, working on the naming, and that should be on those, we should.
Thank you. Doesn't look like we have any other business, and 8.0 next meeting is October 6th, 7 p.m. At the Pleasant Hill Community Center. And with that, the meeting is adjourned. Thank you.